pupils, this is Sharmila Kaushik, and if you're watching this, you are the learning kind. This is brought to you by Perpetual Pupil, experts at learning and development, currently focused on bringing new perspectives to education. We have a very exciting guest today, Ms. Lalitha Ganesh, who is a trailblazing educator with over 8 years of experience in research. She is passionate towards learning and innovation and is dedicated to using technology to transform education. Let's hear more about it from her. But speaking of your research experience, ma'am, how would you inspire children or support their interest in taking up research as a career?
Yeah. So, unfortunately, there is not more takers for basic sciences or pure science nowadays. That somewhere probably is because at schools we are not encouraging that research
Yeah.
mindset. At home, we are not probably encouraging that research mindset in children. Now, as educators, what we should be doing to kindle that creative thinking and critical analysis in children is that make your classroom more student centric. Ask them a lot of open ended questions. Why, how, what if? Those kind of questions have to be asked, and it really need not happen only in the high school. You should start it right from the primary stages. One example I would like to share here is, like, suppose you're talking about plants, right? At a very lower primary level, you just ask them the question. Don't give the answer. Ask them, what do plants require to grow? What do they need to grow? So you would have couple of answers based on their experience. The same question can be, a little progressive when you go to the middle school, wherein they have already studied about the different climatic conditions across the world.
Correct.
Ask them, how are the plants able to survive in different areas, in different climatic conditions. So that's when you introduce the topic of adaptation. Don't directly start off with the topic, but ask these kind of questions. And in a much higher grade, you can talk about, can we genetically engineer plants so that they thrive in drought areas? So
Or
this
different
is,
environments.
yes, in a drought area or in an extreme cold environment. So the same topic of plant growth and adaptation, you can modify the question based on the age group.
Nice.
Have these open-ended questions in the class. Allow them to come up with their own ideas. Allow them to think, allow them to research and come back. It's okay if they go back to the net and they search. That's fine. That's how it is nowadays. They have to go to the internet and search. So let them go and refer back, make a synopsis of their understanding and come and present it in the class.
Nice.
And one of the major accomplishments for children or even for any researcher is to get your thing published somewhere. Schools should focus on that.
Okay.
However small an experiment it may be, if it is something that the child has innovated, the child has done on their own, get it published in a magazine or get it published in one of the journals or even your own school magazine.
Yeah.
Then that is kind of going to be inspiring for the child, and also it is going to motivate the peers.
Nice. What inspired you, ma'am? What inspired you to take up research?
I think it was probably, I would say it came from my father, because my dad himself has been into a lot of research, and I somehow was very fascinated when I took up botany in my BSc. So that's the stage when I actually started, with a lot of interest in studying botany. And then I went on to, further with the other degrees, and that's how I landed up probably into research.
Very nice, ma'am. Please comment what inspired you to take up the careers that you have taken up today in our comment section below. And ma'am, I think your story is so inspiring, because I think this is a very new dimension to education, right? To look at assessments and all, it's completely changing. So can you tell me a little about what work you have done in the area of integrating technology with education?
So when you look at integrating technology, There are a lot of things that we've been working on, like having the content delivery through
Hmm.
the LMS, having the assessments done through the LMS, having the analysis of the student performance being done through the LMS.
LMS.
Yeah, and now with AI. The current thing is that how do you help the children to read
Okay.
English, right? When you go to
At a primary level?
at a primary
Oh,
level or
wow.
even at a high school level, it's very alarming when you go to schools in certain two-tier or
Hmm.
three-tier cities.
Hmm.
You find that children at a very in a high school level also are not very comfortable with English. They're not able to read.
Hmm.
Right. So at that stage, if I'm putting them to phonics and if I'm going to be teaching them how to read a two-letter or a three-letter word, that's not going to help in any way,
Okay.
right? So what we do is we should be encouraging them to start reading English, start speaking, because first important is anyway you're going to be learning all the subjects in English.
Yeah,
So it's
correct.
very important that children know how to
Read English. Correct.
read
Yeah.
English. So you can take a lot of support from AI, because without even knowing the level at which you are, uh, even the student might not know, because it becomes quite sometimes a little demotivating for children to know that they're at a much lower grade level than
Yeah.
where they are expected to be. So you can use technology to help you to read, learn English, to speak English, and
Very interesting.
also accelerate the process. It kind of enhances the speed and brings you to the grade level of where you're supposed to be at the end of that grade. Additionally, we could also use technology for the core subjects also, right?
Interesting.
It makes it very interesting when I am getting to learn about a particular topic, choosing something that I like the most, right?
Very interesting. This makes me think about how, if we have integrated technology to such a level in schools that we're using AI to kind of enhance their learning process, how many schools or how many systems have actually implemented using LMS and technology to deliver this?
It is getting into the stream now. There
Okay.
are schools, majority of the schools are adopting to technology. I have started utilizing the LMS or other platforms for learning. But yes, this involves a lot of drive.
Hmm.
You need to drive it to make sure that it is being utilized on a regular basis. It should not be something that I use when I feel like, and if I don't feel like, again, I go back to the chalk and board
Yeah, I
method,
think
right?
once you implement it, the students get used to it, I
Yes,
think. Yeah.
students also get used to it, and the teachers have to be convinced that this is helping me.
Okay. Should parents be convinced?
Parents also very important, because they are that is, if that link goes missing,
Correct.
then I may have the most high tech technology in my school. I may be using AR, I may be using VR, I'll use everything in my classroom,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
after my children go home, they don't even
Correct.
get to use their the device to take a test. Then it is of no use. So parent orientation on how important technology is and how it can personalize the learning, how it is
Hmm.
beneficial. Parents would get convinced only when I know it's going to do good for my child,
Correct. Yeah.
right? So we need to orient the parents, we need to tell them, we need to educate them that there is a difference between, let's not take it as a screen time,
Yeah.
right? The screen time definitely increases, but here it is more of for learning rather than just going online and looking at something. So that's where the parent has to pitch in to monitor what the child is doing at home. At school, yes, you can block a lot of sites, and you're able to restrict
Hmm.
what they are watching
Hmm.
because it's in the control of the teacher.
Hmm.
But at home, the parents will have to look into
Yeah.
it. So that's where parent involvement and convincing them is very, very important.
What are some of the benefits that you've noticed in schools that are using learning management systems and these AI driven teaching methods that you have noticed in children? that you can tell parents to convince them of the benefit of LMS?
Yeah. So one is that since you're giving them personalized content, age appropriate
Yeah.
and personalized content. Within a class, you may have children who are very much above the grade level. They are somehow always the neglected lot, because we all
They
feel
get
that
it.
okay, they'll do it, right? And as teachers, we tend to focus on children who are
Need the support, yeah.
who need support. But what do you do with the children who are much above the grade level?
And they're getting bored.
And they're getting bored, so they get very much distracted, and they tend to distract their peers also. So either you put them as a peer discussion, you put them to coach their peer.
Yeah.
That's one good way of
Use
doing
their
it.
energy for
Use
the
their energy. Or what you do is you engage them, give them something which is of a much higher level. Now, for a teacher to do these things manually is going to be very difficult.
That's true.
It's impossible to do that. So, but when you have an LMS that's going to be doing that, then you are taking care of children who are at different levels. So, you are taking care of the heterogeneity in your class. You're looking at the ones who are below grade level, the ones who are at grade level, and above the grade level. So that you need to show it to the parents, how the personalized content is helping them, not only for the children who are not performing well, but also for the ones who are performing really well. You can prepare them for a lot of competitive exams, give them questions based on that, wherein they're going to be involved for, say, 40 minutes solving one or two problems.
Ma'am, you spoke about the benefits of LMS and how parents can understand it and help children. What are some of the challenges that you have been facing in implementing learning management systems in schools?
With respect to implementation when it comes of the LMS at schools, I think first is the acceptance from the teachers is very, very important that we address that, because sometimes there is a little hesitation in them that I can write a better lesson plan than this, why should I even use it, right? Or how is this assessment going to help? Will I have the time to follow whatever is given? Will my students able to will they be able to do the activity that is given in the lesson plan? So basically those are just a guidelines. That's what we tell the teachers, that we are giving you guidelines, you change it as per your classroom. So once you give them that flexibility, they're more open to that. Now, how do you again change it? Make use of technology, use AI, give your classroom scenario, give this particular activity that's there in the lesson plan and ask it to simplify it, or, conduct the activity with whatever material is available in the classroom. So that is very important. Once the teachers and once the school heads are convinced, then it becomes much easier to, implement it. Basically, the resistance, I would say, is because we need to have a balance in understanding that technology is more for an engagement purpose and not to be completely dependent on that. So a lot of times we have the educators also asking us that, are the children going to be creative? Are they going to be able to think on their own using, if too much of technology is there? So that's where, as a teacher, my role comes in asking open-ended questions, in making it use the LMS or use technology to make your class more interactive. Don't ask them what are the different states of matter, or what is the state of matter on water at this particular temperature. Tell them, imagine you're an astronaut, you're on visiting different planets. So how would you see the state of water changing, and how is it going to help you in strategize your survival? Or don't talk to them about photosynthesis. Don't ask them what is photosynthesis. Tell them to visualize it and represent it as a visual as they would do it for a 5-year-old child.
Right.
So those are certain things that we as teachers can ask open-ended questions, real life scenarios, integrate all of those in your classroom. Then obviously children are going to be very creative and they're forced to think.
Yeah, correct.
Right. And another challenge is where they feel that it's more of screen time. There is too much of access to other content. Now, everything technology cannot do. right? You cannot, maximum LMS, what it could do is help you with creative questions,
Yeah.
competency based questions, help you with randomizing the questions so that two people sitting next
Cannot.
to each other don't copy it, right? But there's something that as schools and parents, we also need to do is instill the value of honesty and integrity in children. That is very, very essential. Tell them that originality is what is going to be appreciated, right? And copying it or just taking information from somewhere is not going to help you. So that is the value system also plays a lot of role in
Yeah.
ensuring that there is a smooth implementation of technology.
It's so interesting that you're saying this, because now I think that teachers can kind of let go of the technical parts and focus on developing their ability to facilitate honesty
Yes,
and these life skills
yes.
more. What about parents? How do they react to LMS, and what are some ways in which parents can facilitate the integration of these technologies into education?
Parents would be a little apprehensive. Not all of them, maybe. There are a set of them who are very, very appreciative of the way it helps, and they're a pro in it. But some of them might have a little apprehension because of the screen time or because of availability of devices at home. Also, in a lot of places,
Yeah.
that is again a constraint,
Correct.
right? Not everyone at home will have a device.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, what we do for this is that we have to orient the parent on what are the pros of having technology integrated learning. Convince them, show them the evidences of how their own child is improving
Yeah.
by using technology in the school. Parents will have to sit with the children to see how they are utilizing technology. Every day, maximum how much? Half an hour to 45 minutes is the time when the child is going to learn something on the
Yeah.
LMS. The rest of the time,
Okay.
they're either going to read the book or they're going to write their
Okay.
assignment or something, because it cannot be completely technology driven.
Yet.
It is not, and it
Okay.
cannot also be. Somewhere
Okay.
you do have to write the answers. You do have to, interpret what you're reading, isn't it? So
Yeah.
still, that's why we have assessments also having formative and summative assessment. We cannot assess a child only based on the formative assessment, only on
Okay.
an MCQ or a fill in the blanks. I cannot assess.
Yeah.
You need to have the subjective component also.
Yeah.
Although the system could help you in evaluating, but the child has to write it down.
Correct.
So half an hour to 45 minutes, the parent can devote with the child and just see what they are doing when they are utilizing, when they're using the device. Let the parent be with the child and tell them that, educate the children that using technology is only as a source of information. You're going to get from that, analyze it, and put it in your own words. Don't just copy paste. That's not going to help. So that's where I think parents play a very key role in getting involved.
Nice.
So parent and teachers, the school, home and school have to collaborate. We can't function independently.
And LMS is a process, is a
Yes.
system that facilitates,
Yes.
that.
Because parents also get to see how their child is progressing. They get to see the reports.
Exactly.
So
Very interesting. How would you say that? Of course, you told us how parents can prepare for an extremely tech savvy education. How do you think schools or educational institutions in general can prepare for a future that is so tech integrated?
First thing is, of course, the infrastructure, right? You need to have the right kind of infrastructure, enough devices in the classroom, in the school or in the computer lab, and have the digital literacy for the teachers and for the students. They should know how to use the system, how to log in, how to utilize whatever is available, whether you're using an LMS or you have an integrated virtual lab in that. So you orient them on digital literacy and tell them what is to be searched for and what not to look for. Then the next would be having blended assessment. As I said, that you need to have formal and summative assessment, formative and summative assessments, because that is going to give you a broad understanding. Formative assessments can be done through the system, right? And the schools should train the teachers to prepare assessments that can be taken using technology.
So, what about areas in schools that are located in remote locations or where the technology has not yet moved so ahead? to integrate it into student lives?
In these areas, it is a little
Tricky.
challenging to implement the LMS, but yes, fair amount of internet connection is there everywhere now. So we could also look at having platforms which are offline, wherein you don't need to have a continuous supply of internet, right? So you do have options for all those, wherein applications are available offline. You download it on the tab or on your digital board, and it's available to use.
It's available on smartphones also?
Yes,
Oh,
on
interesting.
smartphones also. So I think those are the kinds of options that we will have to explore.
Very nice. I think smartphones now almost everybody.
Yeah, everybody has a smartphone. So the internet is there everywhere, although the speed might not be really very good,
correct,
but it is available.
What are, but I mean, I think if you imagine the future of tech integrated education, how does it look to you, ma'am?
Classrooms are already having technology now in a lot of places. Smart boards are there. That's the basic, at least majority of the schools have a smart board. So with complete integration of technology, I see that we are going to totally shift from the traditional one size fits all kind of a learning system to something which is more personalized, wherein you have the curriculum or have the content based on the level of the student. With AI integration, that is definitely very easily possible, wherein you personalize it. With the AR and VR, you can have abstract concepts coming into life.
AR and VR, like virtual reality.
Virtual reality and augmented reality. You bring in the abstract concepts into life in the classroom, and wherein it becomes more of an experiential learning.
Wow.
Right?
I can imagine playing video games in class.
Yes. So it is going to be really very exciting. And even for the teachers, you can have a lot of upskill modules. You could have a lot of gamified assessments. A simple assessment as an acid-base reaction. In a question paper, I would just ask what happens when NaOH and HCl react. But when I'm using a technology, I could give options for children to change the proportion of the acid and the base and see. So those are the kinds of things which I foresee would happen with technology integration into classrooms. There's a lot that would change.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. I think my idea of tech integrated education has completely changed after having this conversation with you. Is there something that you would like to share to our audience and tell them how they can prepare for a future which is so tech savvy and education is also in the mix of technology?
Yeah, definitely. I would, the three key components, that is personas, the teachers, the students, and for the parents. For the teachers, it is use technology integration as an opportunity to see how well you can make your classes much more innovative and interesting. For children, explore, engage, and excel. And for parents, you need to join hands with the schools to make sure that technology is appropriately integrated. So technology is definitely going to be there. So it is, let's keep it simple and powerful. Have learning which is driven by technology, guided by values, wherein every learning process is going to be creative and innovative for the child.
Ma'am, thank you so much for coming. I think you've broadened all of our perspectives on education and LMS and introduced us to this new world. So please accept this small token of our gratitude.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.